Some people ask, who killed Chopin? Let me tell you the truth.
Short biography of Frédéric François Chopin. Prepared by Classic Tense.
Here we go. We will go with chronological order and mention some cornerstones about Chopin's life. Where was Chopin born? In 1810, Frédéric François Chopin was born in Zelezowa Wola, 46 km west of Warsaw, Poland. Frédéric's father, Nicolas Chopin, was a Frenchman from Lorraine who had emigrated to Poland in 1787 at the age of 16. Nicolas tutored children of the Polish aristocracy, and in 1806 married Tekla Justina Krzyżanowska, who became the first music teacher of her son, the pianist and composer Frédéric Chopin. So, was Frédéric Chopin French or Polish? Chopin's strong feelings were being a Polish nationalist. His Polish identity was outwhitted over his French identity. In October 1810, 6 months after Frédéric's birth, the family moved to Warsaw, where his father acquired a post teaching French at the Warsaw Lyceum. From September 1823 to 1826, Chopin attended the Warsaw Lyceum, where he received organ lessons from the Czech musician Wilhelm Werfel during his first year. In the autumn of 1826 he began a 3-year course under the Silesian composer Joseph Elsner, at the Warsaw Conservatory, studying music theory, figured bass, and composition. Okay. What was Chopin's first published work? The Rondo in C minor, Opus 1, for solo piano is Chopin's first published work, published in 1825, and dedicated to Madame de Linde, the wife of the headmaster of the Lyceum at which Chopin was studying. This was the first of his works to be commercially published and earned him his first mention in the foreign press. But, how did Chopin become famous? In 1830, when he was 20 years old, Chopin wrote Piano Concerto No. 1 in E minor. It was first performed on the 11th of October of that year, at the Teatr Narodowy, which means the National Theatre, in Warsaw, Poland, with the composer as soloist, during one of his farewell concerts before leaving Poland. It was the first of Chopin's 2 piano concertos to be published, and was therefore given the designation of Piano Concerto No. 1 at the time of publication, even though it was actually written immediately after the premiere of what was later published as Piano Concerto No. 2. Chopin's successes as a composer and performer opened the door to Western Europe for him. That's why Chopin left Poland. He headed for Austria, intending to go on to Italy. But violent unrest there made that a dangerous destination. His next choice was Paris. In September 1831, he traveled from Vienna to Paris. During his years in Paris, he was to become acquainted with, among many others, Hector Berlioz, Franz Liszt, Ferdinand Hiller, Heinrich Heine, Eugene Delacroix, Alfred de Vigny, and Friedrich Kalkbrenner. On 25 February 1832, Chopin gave a debut Paris concert in the Salons de MM Pleyel at 9 Rue Cadet, which drew universal admiration. After his successful performances, the critics introduced him as a new innovator, who makes renewal of piano music. His fame started to grow significantly, as a young man. Chopin had many friends in Paris. But, who was Chopin's best friend? Chopin's best friend was Franz Liszt. Chopin and Franz Liszt became friends, and for many years lived close to each other in Paris. They performed together on 7 occasions between 1833 and 1841. The first, on 2 April 1833, during which they played George Onslow's Sonata in F minor for piano duet. However, after 1843, their friendship was soured. Chopin's music soon found success with publishers, and in 1833 he contracted with Maurice Schlesinger, who arranged for it to be published not only in France but, through his family connections, also in Germany and England. In October 1935, he reached Leipzig, where he met Mendelssohn, who organized for him a performance of his own Oratorio St. Paul, and who considered him a perfect musician. And let's talk a little bit about Chopin's love life. For example, who was Chopin married to? After an engagement with the Polish artist Maria Wodzinska between 1836 and 1837, he maintained a troubled relationship with the French writer George Sand. Chopin has never been married. By the way, you may heard the rumors about Chopin's sexuality. People are asking that, was Chopin a gay? Of course we cannot be 100% sure, but it seems that he was not a gay. Because of his feminine music style and his gay friends, being gay is ascribed to him. And also even today, the name George Sand, who Chopin maintained a relationship, still misleading people. As you saw just now, George Sand is female. Her real name is Amantine Lucille O'Rourke Dupin. Anyway, let's continue. The two spent a miserable winter on Majorca. Although this period had been productive, the bad weather had such a detrimental effect on Chopin's health that Sand determined to leave the island. They traveled first to Barcelona, then to Marseille, where they stayed for a few months while Chopin convalesced. Then they headed to Nohant. During Nohant times, particularly in the years 1839 to 43, Chopin found quiet, productive days during which he composed many works, including his Polonaise in a flat major, Opus 53. From 1842 onwards, Chopin showed signs of serious illness. Chopin's output as a composer throughout this period declined in quantity, year by year. Whereas, in 1841 he had written a dozen works. Only 6 were written in 1842, and 6 shorter pieces in 1843. In 1844 he wrote only the Opus 58 Sonata. 1845 saw the completion of 3 mazurkas, Opus 59. Chopin's public popularity as a virtuoso began to wane, as did the number of his pupils, and this, together with the political strife and instability of the time, caused him to struggle financially. In February 1848, with the cellist Auguste Franchomme, he gave his last Paris concert, which included 3 movements of the cello sonata Opus 65. Well, when was Chopin's last public appearance? In April, during the Revolution of 1848 in Paris, he left for London, where he performed at several concerts and numerous receptions in great houses, and another in Edinburgh at the Hopetoun Rooms. Chopin made his last public appearance on a concert platform at London's Guildhall on 16 November 1848. By this time, he was very seriously ill. At the end of November, Chopin returned to Paris. Finally, when Chopin died. Or, how old was Frédéric Chopin when he died? On 17 October 1949, he died when he was just 39 years old. At his funeral, he wanted Mozart's Requiem to be played, not the Marche funèbre funeral anthem, Second Piano Sonata Part 3, that he composed. And where is Chopin buried? He is buried in Paris at the Père-Lachaise cemetery. Maybe you've heard of it. There are also some conspiracy theories about Chopin's death. Some people ask, who killed Chopin? Let me answer. Nobody killed Chopin. Chopin, who was weak since his childhood, died of tuberculosis at a young age. That's the truth. Over 230 works of Chopin survive. Some compositions from early childhood have been lost. All his known works involve the piano, and only a few range beyond solo piano music, as either piano concertos, songs or chamber music. Chopin's music remains very popular and is regularly performed, recorded and broadcast worldwide. The world's oldest monographic music competition, the International Chopin Piano Competition, founded in 1927, is held every 5 years in Warsaw. The Frédéric Chopin Institute of Poland lists on its website over 80 societies worldwide devoted to the composer and his music. The institute site also lists nearly 1,500 performances of Chopin works on YouTube as of January 2014.